This is the Canadian Crusher, AJ Sanchez, and you are listening to WPOV Wrestling.
Hey folks, welcome to another edition of WPOV Global. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. With me, my co-hosts of the upper stratosphere, I'm going to call them this week. We're talking about the Lone Wolf, Andy Anderson.
Pleasure as always.
You're looking ass-kicking with that toque combination you got going on. Look like a tough guy, Andy. Loving it,
as long as if I can at least look like one, that's half the battle.
Now, you know what? Before I introduce my next co-host, I want to tell you about a thing called karma. Uh-oh. Karma is a little bit of a something where when you do something bad, it comes back and kicks you in the ass super hard. Say you, I don't know, decide to betray your global colleagues and run off to the big WPOV show, and then they drop you like a hot sack of shit when they get Clay Cummings to take your place. Ooh. Hey, Elio. Well, no, I think Elio deserves the who this week. We're talking the traitorous cur, Elio Canella.
Cur, what? It's great to be here.
It's great to be here. There's nothing like coming back with your tail between your legs. Is that not true, Elio?
I'm sure you're mistaken. I don't know what you're talking about.
We told you what happens when you trust those American boys. Yeah, they prepped you all up and then they dumped you the first dance. They got one of their compadres on.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Canada. And see, we're such nice Canadians. We're going to abuse the fuck out of you, but we're going to still let you come back into the fold.
I've always been abusing him, so nothing's really changed for me.
Yeah, nothing's really changed. This time I've decided to get on the Andy boat.
There you go.
And we're going to push you face first in the propeller. All right.
Look, we got Elio Canellas back here.
Your horrible son. Why didn't you beat him more growing up? Fans, if you want Andy to beat Elio Canella physically, please write in. Where could the people write in if they want? It's
our hot topic for next week.
Elio, if the fans really want Andy to get on a plane, and they'll, of course, fans, you'll have to send the money because we don't do this shit for free. Andy will fly.
Flights are canceled.
No, there are flights within our country.
Yeah.
And Andy does not fly less than first class. Exactly. He's the man. You fly him to Toronto, and he will go to the doorstep of Elio Canellas, his once son, who's been a traitor, and he will kick him squarely in the nuts once and say, "Welcome back, dog," and head home.
And I'll do it wearing a mask.
Yes. So fans, all you got to do is vote. And hell, Elio, you traitor, where would people write in if they wanted to see you get your ass kicked or they wanted anything else to talk about?
I'm sure mistaken, but just to write in on Facebook at Wrestling POV Podcast, Instagram Wrestling POV1, and Twitter at Wrestling POV.
Well, you know what, guys? I had to go away for a week. I was on a hiatus, we'll just say. I wasn't sick this time. I was on hiatus. I finally got out of quarantine, so I needed to get out of town, get away from my goddamn house for at least a little while. And I did that, so I'm sorry. You guys did great, by the way. I have not, of course, yet got the chance to hear Quarantine. That'll be coming out probably tomorrow, and I guess, it probably came out today. I don't know. It'll be coming out sometime. But I'll be listening to that one. I guess it's next week. I got it all mixed up. Because yesterday we had out the hardcore edition.
Hardcore, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll hear your guys'. How did it go? How do you guys feel the show went?
That was fun. It was a fun show, yeah.
Attitude Era, it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. We had Rick Serrano III.
Oh. Ooh.
The Natural Disasters #1 fan.
Only fan, but yes.
And he was doing his best Bailey impersonation throughout the show.
I saw the GIFs.
Yes. So definitely worth checking out, listening to Rick. And we had Clay. Who else do we have on the show?
Did you have AJ Sanchez?
Oh, yeah, yes, AJ, of course. Yes. The incomparable AJ Sanchez.
I love that guy. He's always a great and welcome addition on any of our quarantines.
Exactly.
Okay, and you know what? I listened to last week's show. You guys had a great time. Tony was on there. Good job. So now we're back. Let's talk this week's AEW. If you know what, folks, because I've been gone, I did not get a chance to watch any of the other wrestling matches out there. No MLW, no ROH, no Impact or whatever other stuff. I didn't even get to see UK this week, which I really enjoy, but I just didn't get a chance. So here I am. I'm back. We did watch AEW Dynamite tonight. Now, before we get into that, let's talk about our feature called Elite or Delete. And here is what I was curious about. I mean, obviously, today's Elite or Delete guy is one of the biggest guys in AEW. But I was just curious to see how much of a pendulum might have shifted. If the fans have kind of, because we've talked about it a lot, and it seems like we're not the only ones who are just maybe a little tired of Cody Rhodes' bullshit, okay? I mean, he's got by far the most obnoxious, longest, ridiculous frickin' entrance, which he likes to even do when he doesn't wrestle. If he's just going to come out there and talk 2 minutes, he has a 3-minute entrance to get there. And not only that, not only was his entrance horrible, now he's got a remix entrance by Snoop Dogg, which is even worse.
Terrible. Yeah.
So I was curious, and we've also noticed this whole thing of every time there's a super big name that even takes a sniff around AEW, Cody Rhodes is there getting involved. Seems like he has to have his finger in the pie of just about anything that could make him bigger. So I was curious, fans, what you fans thought about it. Before we get into that, I'm going to start off with Andy. And Andy, tell me your feelings towards Cody Rhodes and his presentation right now in AEW.
Feelings towards Cody and his presentation in AEW.
There's no denying he's a great wrestler. We can't say.
Oh yeah, no, and he's one of the top. There, yeah. I mean, whether he's part owner of the company or not, I think, it's just as you were saying, about Elite or Delete, and if as a pendulum would switch. Maybe I don't know if we didn't word it right, or because we actually did it as an Elite or Delete. Maybe the numbers aren't surprising, but maybe it's because by the sounds of things, it's not that he should be delete or deleted, but maybe we're just getting tired of the Cody show.
Yeah.
So maybe he needs to kind of scale back versus a delete. And I didn't really see any of the comments. So I mean, if that's maybe part of what it is, then that's kind of how I see it. It's just, yeah. I mean, the comparisons to Triple H are going to be there. As you were talking about the entrance and the remix entrance, I'm thinking, well, at least, Triple H had a couple different entrances. I mean, he had a couple different Motorhead songs, depending on if he was coming out as, figurehead Triple H, or if he's coming out as the Game. And, at least the figurehead one was shorter. So, maybe Cody could take a page, another page from the Triple H playbook, and maybe have a shorter version for when he's coming out just to do promos or something else. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. He is what he is. It's not a matter of delete, and I mean he's gonna be one of the top guys, but it's just maybe a little less Cody.
A little less, okay. Yeah. How are you feeling about the whole Cody presentation?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree, because it seems every week, some weeks there's no Cody. Other weeks there's like one segment or more than one segment, and it just gets to be too much. Cody Rhodes on TV, just scale it back. All
right. Before I give mine, I'm just because Rick Serrano III is a regular. He's a host on this network, and he's a regular contributor to Global. I'm just going to read quickly what he wrote in. He wrote in, "I honestly believe Cody has ruined his legacy." See what I did there? It's too late for him to become likable like his dad or a workhorse like his brother. He became a suit too soon in his career, and if he keeps going down this elite push he's been given himself, the world will be hoping for a go-away option. Now here is, I really got to agree with this, okay? Because what I see here is this, and Andy, I'm just going to use you as an example, okay? Now suppose Andy had come and joined the show, and Andy was a guy we didn't really know, okay? Unlike how I knew him coming in and he was a friend, but let's say he was somebody we didn't know. He's somebody who just got paired up with us, okay? And let's suppose Andy was always jumping into every single thing, no matter what it was. I mentioned I like comic books. Andy's got to tell me a story about comic books.
Wait. That part's true. I already do that.
No, but you don't to this extent. To the extent where you were like almost overbearing,
right,
in everything that was going on. And that's the problem with Cody right now, is the way he presents himself. He doesn't, his father, at times it seems he's tried to ape his father's career at points to try and get some of those things. But his father had a whole different approach and a whole different character. Okay, his father wasn't the guy in the suit who was the corporate dude who was, he was the working man. His brother took all kinds of different routes to get his popularity. But the way it's going now, it's pretty damn hard to have a likable corporate character in this world. So that was the first step. That's a bit of a turnoff. He comes out all, I like to dress up. Andy likes to dress up. Elliot, we all love to dress up. But it's not really who we were walking around 24 hours a day dressed in $1,000 suits. It's just not who we are. And it comes across from Cody, that's not who he really is. That's just that he's playing the role. He's playing this better than everybody thing. I mean, if he was such a corporate bigwig guy, he wouldn't have got the grossest ass freaking tattoo you could possibly get on your neck, right? I mean, you're never going to get a job as a typist now, Cody. Anyhow.
I will say, though, did you see the Super Bowl? He was at the Super Bowl, and he was dressed up. He had shirt and tie, and I'm assuming he had a jacket because the picture I saw, he still had a vest on as well.
So here's the thing, though. If you're presented overly obnoxious and then in our face too much, there's always a pushback. I mean, think of it, people. How many people have you been in their life where there's been a guy who's like, oh, man, don't you just love so-and-so? He's so cool. And in your head, you're like, fuck that guy. I don't like that guy at all. Only because everyone else likes him. Or it comes around to the part where everyone dislikes him because, like Cody, he keeps just throwing his face out there. Now, Cody's talented. There's not a lot of wrestlers who can do the stuff that he does. And he can command an audience. But there is going to come a point in any kind of presentation where oversaturation just is too much. He runs that risk of becoming the X-Pac. X-Pac was a guy who was pretty talented. Okay, he did a lot of things nobody could do, but he was so presented in a way it came to the point where you didn't hate him because he made you mad. You didn't hate him because he was a bad character. You hated him because he was wasting your time on TV, and you'd rather just turn it off. And that's what
tongue callous.
Oh God, yes. God, yes. So, in my opinion, Cody runs that risk. Now, I sent this out there. This week's Elite Delete, Andy's right. It's kind of unfairly worded. My whole idea, though, was to kind of get a gauge of what people's first gut reaction is. Nobody here believes that Cody Rhodes is going to be demoted to what's their B show called? Dark or something like that. Yeah. No, we don't believe that. But I would just throw it out there as a barometer to see if it's only us, and it might be. And according to these numbers, apparently it is just us who comment on these shows because 99% of you said he was elite, and only 1% delete. Wow. So I'm having a bad feeling that 1% is all the members of the WPOV network.
I thought it was going to be 1%. 1, 2, 3. I thought it was going to be 3%.
But this is what I'm saying by the wording, though, is that if I had to pick elite or delete, I would still say elite.
Oh yeah. But I just wanted a barometer to see if people had, because my whole idea was if people were sick of his shit enough, they just might delete for now.
Yeah, gotcha.
You don't think it through. It's just a gut reaction, Yeah. So he hasn't hit that saturation point. I think that we're going to be rerunning this question probably in like 6 to 8 months or a year from now to see if the barometer has changed, and it just might. Okay? So let's take a look at some of these comments we got here. You have any setup, Elio?
I do.
Okay, why don't you read us off one?
Okay, so Richard Wallace says, a poor man's Jeff Jarrett.
Wow.
Ooh, I can see that, though. I can see that, right?
Theo Lennon says, as long as Cody's in charge, his friends will be working.
Oh. I'm not sure what Raymond Hosking meant by Dustin, rest in peace.
I think that's where I come in. That's not what you're asking.
Thank you. Anything else? I'm.
No, everything else is just 2 deletes and one says elite.
Okay, so that was our barometer test. We'll revisit this down the road because I don't see it changing anytime. I mean, he's already got his fingers in a lot of weird things. Although I want to give a quick prop to this week's. I actually enjoyed the fact of giving some young guys, up-and-comers, a bit of a shine, which we'll get into
Well, you know what though? In less than 9 months, we'll probably see a little less of them.
Yes. Very brilliant, Andy. Very brilliant. All you single guys out there who ran away from your girlfriends have no idea what we're talking about. But those of you who hung around, you probably have a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into AEW's Dynamite, I did notice, Andy, that, and I'm challenging Andy this week. He is not going to challenge. He's not going to channel Don Callis. He is Don Callis. Oh my God, Don West. Instead, I'm going to challenge him to channel someone else. Let's do a promo on T-shirts for WPOV Wrestling.
Just like that, hey?
You are a wrestler, and they throw a mic in your face.
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, if I want to... Wrestling fans want you to know. Freak out. The ProWrestlingTees.com. /Wrestling POV. Dig it. Best T-shirts. Brother, let me tell you, the madness is going to eclipse the Hulkamania. It's going to eclipse the Rick Serrano Mania. It's going to eclipse the natural disasters.
No way.
What I'm saying. I'll tell you this though. The Wrestling POV T-shirts, they're good for your hole. Nia Jax, not so much. Don't worry, Nia, the cream rises to the top. That's why 1995 US. Get yourself one of the cool 1, 2, 3, 4, not the 4 horsemen. Ric Flair, beat him. Tully Blanchard, never fought him. Would have beat him. Arn Anderson, beat him. Lex Luger, Barry Windham, take your pick. Mongo, beat him. Anyways, back to the fact, Jack. Listen to the Macho Man when I tell you, Wrestling POV. Get your T-shirt today. Dig it.
I am in awe.
I think my brother's here.
I think your brother's jealous as hell.
I think I'm done for the night.
Andy, that was some brilliant stuff.
Off the cusp.
Off the cuff. That's a wrestler.
That's an A+.
Yes. Now, if Elio had done that, it would have been an F. Anyhow,
my voice would have been destroyed.
Anyhow, and you know what, fans? You are listening to WPOV Global, one of the many shows on the WPOV Wrestling Network. Global, hosted by me. I'm looking at them and I forget their names.
TJ Logan forgetting himself, doesn't know where he is.
Okay. You're right. Okay. The Lone Wolf, Andy Anderson, and the traitorous cur, Elio Canella. We host this show.
I don't think that applies anymore.
It always applies.
I think I'm now the Macho Wolf.
The Macho Wolf. With the best hole in. Anyways, you can find our show every what the hell day is it? Friday. Well, I'm so well prepared for this. I'm just in awe of Andy over here. Okay, you can find us every Friday on various streaming networks. You can also find WPOV Wrestling every Saturday, where we have Rick Serrano III, Tony Diaz, and you know what? Elio got bounced out because of his bullshit. And inside we have the new replacement, Clay Cummings, who will now be joining their show. Also every Tuesday, WPOV Quarantine, where all the Global Boys get together. We get some guests in here and we talk some serious cool wrestling. Got to tell you, Andy, I'm not going to tell people just in case things don't fall through, but I am super excited about the next episode. It's one of the few times I'm actually doing like research, like a lot of research.
We do a little bit more before too.
We got like our hands on a treasure trove, and we better not squander this one.
I was doing research earlier today, listening to some stuff.
Watching porn is not doing research, Elio. I don't know where the hell you got that.
I don't know where you get your information.
From your screenshots, you weirdo. Anyhow, you can find every Tuesday that show. And we have a fourth show called WPOV Aftermath, which appears after every big major WWE pay-per-view. And if AEW ever gets to have good pay-per-views, maybe we'll do one. Who knows? As long as they ain't like beach bash bullshit. I got to tell you guys, I think I didn't mean to do this, but I am so glad that I didn't have to do last week's show, because the highlights I saw about it were absolute crap.
They were not too high.
Oh my God. And that wedding thing was some of the worst crap in the bundle of crap. But anyhow, we're going to get started here. Let's get into AEW
Dynamite.
That's right. All right. So we start off the show. First thing I want to say before we get into the action, find it hilarious that all three of the commentators, Excalibur, JR, and Tony Schiavone, are all wearing cheap-ass vests with AEW things on them. All three of them, whatever various things they're wearing, are cold enough to be wearing these stupid Old Navy embroidered things. So anyways, we open up with Darby Allin putting his belt up against Joey Janela. Okay. First things, some notes I did take about this, okay? I found it funny that Joey Janela kind of reminds me, and this is for old WCW fans, if you just look at him quickly, he looks like Lash LaRue and all those old WCW not very good all these mid-heavyweights that weren't high flyers, that all look like Jericho, kind of chubby with curly, greasy, long hair, and so interchangeable. And you got to know that Janela isn't that big when he was almost the same size as Darby Allin, who we've already determined is a pretty small guy. So that threw me. One thing, too, Darby Allin's makeup, way better choice. He doesn't look like the Turtle Boy. Having him have it come down to his chest, do the outline thing, didn't make it look so ridiculous as it has been in the past. So I'm going to give him props for that, okay? This match, however, boy, it seemed to lack excitement. Despite the fact that they did some kind of cool moves, they're just, for me, it just felt kind of flat. Darby gets this great Code Red avalanche move off the thing, which should have looked spectacular, but it came off flat. This whole match, in the end, Darby gets the win with the coffin drop, and I don't know, flat opening for me. Andy, you got anything on this one?
I've got a few notes here. So by my score, this is the second time that he has defended the TNT title.
Yeah, it's not very many since he's won this thing.
No, because who did we say? Who was this first? Because it was a big deal when it was this. Was it Ricky Starks or something? Or
yeah, it was one of the.
One of Team Taz.
No, it was
Brian Cage.
Oh, Brian Cage. Yeah,
Cage
that was his
slammed
first
him
title
around.
defense, even though he's won it for a couple of months. He's got the Brock Lesnar thing going on. So his second title defense, which made me chuckle when I think it was Schiavone says, it's one of the top prizes in all of pro wrestling. I understand trying to hype your championship, but let's try and keep the suspension of disbelief a little more believable. It's funny, like you said, it seemed kind of flat. They definitely had the crowd into it. I mean, not that it was necessarily because of the match, but I mean, the crowd noise was definitely there. So that was something that I picked up on. I thought it was a decent back and forth match. It's funny that you make those comparisons with Joey Janela and kind of Lash LaRue. I always kind of saw him, especially when he had some of those other sunglasses, as an earlier Diamond Dallas Page.
A very small Diamond Dallas.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. But again, like the curly hair and just kind of that look, and like before he's always kind of been DDP, but like before he became the really the much improved DDP. I wouldn't say it was flat, but it was a decent match. But again, with Darby Allin, he's gonna have to work 2 or 3 times as hard to get me to give it a good thumbs up for one of his matches. So.
Now, I did notice on my notes, I forgot to mention one thing, and I thought for sure you were going to pick that up, Andy. I find it extremely annoying how JR keeps saying he's the enigmatic one, or using that word, considering that we've all painted Jeff Hardy with that for years through many promotions. That I don't know. It would be like calling Dustin's the Macho Man now. You can't steal somebody's.
Cody is like the cerebral assassin.
Yeah, like something that's been so attached to someone. So I find it annoying because he did it at least twice during this match where he called him the enigmatic one or something like that. And I'm like, no, he's not.
Yeah, and I know we've brought that up before on several occasions. So to me, it's I think I'm just kind of numb to it now.
Yeah, it just still annoys me. Maybe I'll get numb to it too. I will, but it's just still, it's lazy. Yeah. Creatively lazy. Elio, what did you think of this match?
For me, this it wasn't a bad opener, but it was just okay. It was an average match for me.
Okay. All right. So we find out, okay, and this is where I saw this, guys. When they showed Kenta attacking Moxley last week.
Yep.
That is by far the shittiest go to sleep I have ever seen, and I've seen many go to sleeps.
Mox did not take it well.
Oh, that was horrible. That was right on with Snoop Dogg doing a splash. It was really it was really. Did you notice that? Like not even close. Yeah. Oh, it was just so bad. Not a fan. Then we did a Moxley promo, which I'm going to say was a bit of a step back for me because it lacked the intensity versus the last time we seen him. He did that kind of insider witty thing. This kind of fell in between them, so it neither came off as intense, nor did it come off as witty. It just sort of came through pushing the match for tonight through the motion sort of thing. I don't know. How did you read that one, Andy?
I had a hard time reading it because I was getting seasick watching it.
Yes.
Did you notice the camera just kept going back and forth? It's almost like Darby Allin was recording and he was on his skateboard just kind of like rocking back and forth.
Wasn't there somebody in a skateboard behind him? There was something going on.
There might have been. I don't know. I had a hard time focusing. I know sometimes, cameramen for effects, they'll do different kind of movement, but at least if it's kind of like at more of an angle, this just seemed to just go back and forth. And like, I felt like I was on a cruise ship.
Yeah, that bothers me with the cameras, especially when they're during the match and all different camera changes.
That's always frustrating me. WWE can be really bad for that sometimes, but I found it really noticeable here at the promo, and it was just the promo was okay, but it really lost me. That's almost like the equivalent of like bad audio, which thankfully there was none of today. But
yes,
I was getting seasick.
Not one of the better ones.
No, and I'm glad you guys brought that up because I was concentrating so hard on the words, I couldn't understand why I was having a hard time with it. I didn't really notice the thing because it was too much ingrained in there, and it's like, now it makes sense. No wonder I struggled so hard to read his words coming out because the camera was obviously distracting me on another angle. So, wow. Yeah, that's some shitty stuff. I mean, I used to hate in the old days. Remember when the ECW used to have its TV show and they do those horrible kind of crash camera things into you and try all this fucking spin the camera around crap. And after a while, it just became like being on a ride where you just didn't care. You just kind of blanked it out. So what was the point of doing it? Not as greatest thing. Okay, this is where I really want somebody to explain the logic of what of what was possibly going on here. Sammy Guevara walks over. He brings a cameraman with him, walks into the Inner Circles room, kicks everybody out but MJF. Him and MJF start talking. MJF pulls his phone out, puts it down, which should have been, as soon as he did that, I was like, okay, he's either going to record it or hit him with the phone or something, right?
Yeah.
So this starts. He starts backtracking Guevara and kind of tricks Guevara into saying,
I hate Jericho. I hate the Inner Circle.
I want to take over.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah. So then he realized, Max kind of laughs, picks up his phone, goes, just what I wanted you to say. Guevara freaks out, smashes the phone, then gives him a gut punch and walks out. Okay, now we'll get on the gut punch later. But let's just backtrack here, the logic of what just happened here, okay? Sammy Guevara brought a cameraman in so that everyone can see what's going on, yet we're supposed to believe Max is stupid enough to think that he could trick on the camera, as we can see that he's being tricked, to say a few words that he's obviously going to edit later to give to Chris Jericho. Hell yeah, punch him in the stomach for being stupid. I don't get it. What the hell was that even supposed to be? Yep. And we have established how many times has Chris Jericho said, well, I'm not dumb. I watched last week's show. Yeah. Unlike Raw, where nobody ever watches what happens. Chris Jericho actually watches this shit. So I'm not, did Sammy take, or not Sammy, did MJF take a stupid pill here and just?
I don't know.
Whoever wrote the segment took a stupid pill.
All I know is I left as soon as MJF went down. Like one punch.
But that's awesome though, because at least with at least with that, we know, I mean, all wrestling work aside, we know that he was working it, right? Like that's just him playing. Like it just, it's like, oh yeah, he like broke my, because then when he goes to talk to Jericho and those guys, I think he broke my ribs and he's taped. Yeah. So I mean, he's still showing how valiant he is that he's doing this despite the fact he was assaulted by Sammy. Yeah, I mean, clearly it was just like one gut punch. Like, no, all due respect to Sammy, but that's just more an MJF than.
how brilliant is MJF when he knows Jericho watches the show and he's still got one punch to the stomach and yet he's going to come out and play that he has broken ribs? Like, come on, man. Just bad writing. Okay, let's go on.
It kind of canceled itself out if you think about it. I mean, like, but I mean, but I'm saying canceling out in terms of there was no purpose to the segment, because if the whole thing was to, I'm going to check him into recording, yet we've got a cameraman there.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even especially when you acknowledge that you're bringing the cameraman in. It's one thing when you've got the GTV, like back in the Goldust days, where you've got somebody else, and you have to have the camera there to catch the action to kind of help, move the story along. But this one, you're actually saying, like, cameraman, come here. We're acknowledging there's a cameraman, in the locker room. So that's why I mean canceling it.
So this is what I'm going to say right here. Okay, Elio?
Yeah.
I want you to get the book opened up. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And this is what we're going to do here. We're not putting something in the book. We have the book open till next week.
Okay.
And if next week's episode, Chris Jericho doesn't acknowledge that he saw Sammy Guevara or saw what MJF was doing, because it was all we saw it, and it was on the show. If Chris sees this, then we close the book. And he does something about it. But if he just goes through next week where he didn't want all of a sudden all the stuff and he still believes in the taped ribs bullshit and stuff, then it goes in the book, because that is poor writing, because we've already established through the show many times that Chris Jericho goes back and watches the show. And we've seen it all fold out. And if he's still buddies with MJF next week, it means the writing is just incredibly stupid and it had been good. So we're going to cue that up for next week. We'll revisit that next week. All right. So Cody's elaborate entrance. Once again, it came up slightly different. I thought, maybe this won't be so horrible. No, it became a giant entrance after he got out. This time he's teaming up with Lee Johnson to take on Pretty Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. Bononi? Yeah. Now, Cesar Bononi, I do recognize him from before in NXT. He was one of those guys a couple of years ago. He definitely was let go at the beginning of the pandemic stuff. Why in the hell is he Pretty Peter Avalon? He doesn't do anything that's pretty. Like, he doesn't do any of those tropes that a wrestling guy does, except he has a bed at the side of the ring.
He wears a robe and has a ponytail.
Oh my God, so does half the wrestlers in the WWE wear robes and have ponytails. None of them are.
And they're all pretty in their own right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's such a lame character, this Pretty Peter. At least go the full way. Even Rick Serrano mentioned this. Wear some colors that are slightly effeminate and outrageous.
Or
do the whole bit.
Or something, yeah.
Do something more than just be... And let's face it, oh my God, that is one skinny, awkward-looking dude in there compared to the rest of those wrestlers. He looked ridiculous. I get he's talented, and you can see that he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
But man, his body shape in that division, it does not look good. It is not a good fit. He looks so out of place. He looks like the guy who's going to eat the pin every single time. By the way, which he did in this match. Lee Johnson, interesting. I believe going into this, his record was something like 0-56 on Dark.
Something like that. Yeah.
This was his first win. Kind of weird how they. I get you getting your first win. It's cool, but it just seems so staged when everybody just came out. His trainers are all standing there. And okay, seems a little bit of an overkill for your very first win. Nobody else got that on their first wins. But I'm going to say I actually enjoy this kind of match to see a chance. I mean, what other chances are you going to get Cesar Bononi and Lee Johnson to get a bit of a shine here, a bit of a look at? And I thought it was an okay match. Lee Johnson, I think he's a little small, but he does seem to have some charisma. I'll give him that. His mic work definitely needs some work.
Yep.
But which surprises me that they would put him on the big show here so quickly. But what did you think of this whole thing, Andy?
Pretty much what you said. I don't think I have too much more to add. It was an okay match. To me, it felt like it was actually like the whole match itself was a platform for Lee Johnson, even more than Pretty
Peter.
Pretty Peter.
Pretty Peter.
Rudy Peter and Cesar. I mean, they were there, and they got a little bit, but to me, this match was a platform for Lee Johnson. I thought he did all right. Cody did some stuff, but wasn't too overbearing in the match, which was nice. But yeah, obviously still work to be done.
Mm-hmm.
The mic afterwards, that just seems to be a common thing with AEW, and to me it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because you're giving these guys, it's you talk about creating opportunities and giving opportunities, and that's cool when you get some positives and some breakthroughs, but most of the time for what we see when kind of the I don't want to say lesser talent, but unknown talent
Mm-hmm.
gets that opportunity, there's nobody breaking through or shining through like
Mm-hmm.
Lee Johnson didn't, like Jade, obviously not.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, I don't know. And to me, I think it just kind of, I hesitate to say it hurts the overall product, because I want to find a better way to say it, but
Mm-hmm.
to me it does. That just kind of gives it the less polished, kind of more indie-rific feel to a lot of what goes on there.
I think you're forgetting about the biggest AEW dark breakout star they've had in a while right now. Any ideas?
Yes, I've forgotten who you're talking about. Who's
Red
that?
Velvet?
Red Velvet.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just being a dick.
But even
Sorry.
I honestly, if you had given me like 10 guesses, I probably wouldn't have
picked Red Velvet.
Red Velvet.
Jesus. What did you think, Elliot? What did you think of this kind of match?
I was fine with this match. It was good to see Cesar Bononi and Lee Johnson. But afterwards, he really needs to work on his mic skills.
One thing I also want to point out, the Cesar Bononi, I don't know if I'm saying his name wrong, but
that's his name. Yeah.
Bononi. Okay.
Yeah.
He is a big dude, a very big, impressive-looking dude who's had at least 3 years in the WWE in NXT development, and he is very awkward and very not smooth whatsoever in the ring. I don't know if you guys saw his footwork in there a lot, how much hesitation he had to do to not trip over somebody. He needs a lot of work, and it's too bad. He has a great look. God, I hope he doesn't get pushed to the stars like Hobbs did out of nowhere. At least Hobbs has some stuff going for him. This guy is big. He would be awesome if he could just move and run the ropes properly and have the basics down. He would be a great guy, a mid-level monster.
Especially on Dark Guy, when he had that stupid walk-off whatever thing, and he attacked Johnson. It was just really awkward the way he just went after him.
Yeah, he really. You look at some of the people they brought up, and they've had some limited NXT experience. And I'm not bringing her up just because I'm in love with her, but Taya Conte, you can see that she has some good training in her. She doesn't have a lot of wrestling in it, but she moves like a wrestler. This dude looks like a great wrestler, and he moves like he doesn't know how to wrestle. So I really hope I hope it comes together, but it makes me a little bit leery when you've been that long in NXT and you're still performing at this level. That makes me think
he's not at NXT.
Yeah, and it tells you he probably will never make it to the main roster of AEW. Maybe as a squash in this sort of thing, but he's definitely not going to be a player unless he can get some stuff together. So a quick question. They showed Arn Anderson's son, who I think it was Tony Schiavone said he looks like a mixture of Ole and Arn Anderson. Which he does. He kind of does, but it's also super funny that Ole and Arn Anderson aren't even related.
No.
They were just guys who vaguely looked alike.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, and now I guess they said he's training, right? He wants to be. Yeah, that he wants to be. I really hope they don't take the Taz's son route.
Yes.
Because there's already pushback from what we see from that. All right, so let's go into. We go backstage with the Young Bucks talking about the Battle Royal. The Good Brothers come in. My God, for guys who have worked together, this felt super awkward and super like they had no idea how to really interact with each other. because it seemed like they were on totally different planets trying to interact here. And for some, I don't know how, and I don't know they understand the game of the Good Brothers, because the Young Bucks were very clear that they wanted to win to give the Good Brothers a chance so they could have this cool match.
Yeah.
The Good Brothers, who obviously would love to be the champions on AEW, way bigger pay up, way better exposure, somehow convinced the Young Bucks to put the belts up against Ortiz and Santana. I don't know. I'm not sure. I would ask the logic in this, but I don't think there is any kind of logic whatsoever to be had in this whole story thing. So I just kind of pulled away with this. I don't know. All I could. Oh, and what was this whole stuff with the Too Sweet thing? Matt Jackson did not want to do it because Sting was standing over there, and I loved how Doc Gallows was like, "Well, he's black and red." WO.
Yeah, that was funny.
So, you know what, Young Bucks, maybe you guys shouldn't try and act, because you're just acting is very confusing and way off the mark. Because I got to tell you, I had no idea what either of you were trying to put across in this. At first, I thought you were mad about something. Then it was a very confusing mad at the end, and the one didn't want to talk to Sting, and I
don't like this segment. I just don't get this whole Good Brothers Young Bucks storyline. It's like they're trying to be friends with these guys, yet at the same time they're playing this game with the Young Bucks.
And not a very good game. So
so I don't get what's going on there.
It's the next level for the Young Bucks. Are they faces or are they heels? Does this story make sense or does it not make sense?
Well, let's always go with not.
Yeah, it to me, it felt though like the Young Bucks were trying to be the more serious ones about it, and the Good Brothers were just being too goofy, too insider, too much.
Like the Good Brothers already have a championship match on Saturday at No Surrender.
Yeah.
Against Private Party and James Storm and Chris Sabin.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was not a very good fit promo. Once again, the book. Have you ever seen, honestly, a Young Bucks promo that didn't come off as ridiculous or awkward? These guys are very bad at it. They're good wrestlers, okay? I know we have problems with their matches, but they do some good stuff, and they're athletic. You know, I got to give them that. But they are not good actors. They are not good interviews. That is definitely a weak spot. That maybe hire a manager, guys. I don't know. Father James Mitchell. Right there. James Mitchell.
No.
There's the fit.
The only reason I would support that decision would just be to have James Mitchell on and then have Elio go off on him every week.
Yeah, that's all I'm pushing for too. Let's write the elite. Okay. Okay, moving on. Talking about bad, awkward acting, let's continue the trend with Hangman Adam Page, who when he does this drinking stuff is... It's just dumb. But so he's backstage. Then Matt Hardy, who I got to give him credit, he does the best Don Callis imitations I've ever seen.
You know what, though? It's funny you say that, but like to me, I don't know. It's like Matt's being slimy, and it's to me it's more that natural. It's like, oh no, like Paige, like don't do it. And you know what's going on with Private Party. But like I said, Don Callis to me is just go away.
Yeah.
At least with Matt, it's like I don't, it's like the heat. I don't, I don't like the character. He's greasy. He's slimy.
But you can appreciate the evilness.
But you can appreciate it, yeah. Whereas Dawn is just
get the hell out of our TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dasha comes back. Adam Page is standing there talking about his tag team thing. She says, "Well, you guys won a thing. You won one match. You should create a tag team forever." Matt Hardy.
That's the same vein as, hey, Lee Johnson wins. Let's get the whole family out.
Yeah.
Big things happen after first wins.
So I was very impressed that just like a snail in a trail of slime cuts across our screen, and there's Matt Hardy, and he decides that he wants to take out Adam Page for a celebration where he's going to pay for all the booze.
And just the two of them.
You're paying there.
He got a whole bar.
Yeah.
Is that what he said? He got the bar or something like that? Yeah. So, of course, Adam Page, thinking with his liver, was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm in. This will save, half a month of rent. So Then he goes around the corner, and I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this, guys. Maybe you guys tell me how you feel. Part of me liked it. Part of me thought it was ridiculous. He runs in to the Dark Order, who are all playing it like, girls that got dumped just after prom.
Hey, Matt. Oh, hey, Matt. How's it going?
Yeah, it's good to see you. We're just heading off this way. All 12 of them apparently are all like, oh, even Anna Jay, who's got the sad, weepy look on her face. Colt Cabana looks like he's crying into his headband. And I'm just like, part of me liked it because at least they addressed the situation. Yeah. But really, what was the chances ever that he was going to bump into all 12 of them? Going off to a bar.
Awkward segment.
Andy, what's your read on this?
The other funny part, if I recall correctly, though, was when Matt was kind of finalizing things. I didn't Paige kind of like, oh yeah, I just got to go get my phone, and then he did the thing where he walked away and then he pulled his phone out.
Yes.
So I thought that was. I mean, that was good because that's the. That
he's not totally stupid.
Right. That's the get out. I can't think of what I want to say, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, he knows what's going on a little more than he's pretending.
Yeah. So that was I appreciated that. I mean, and hey, if the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers can do a promo and Sting is just outside of camera, it's entirely possible for the Dark Order to kind of be, like you said, like the jilted ex-girlfriend or whatever.
He still likes the guy.
He still likes the guy. So it does make sense that they would kind of be hanging around where Adam Page would be. So
it just seems so weirdly awkward just walking through the entirety of them, and they all look like they were on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, guys. Why do they even want him? Like, I don't understand it.
Because he's one of the hottest free agents. He's Hangman Adam Page.
Oh, God.
He's a cowboy.
He's a cowboy. Okay. And he got those great shirts you love.
Yes.
All right. Coming in next, we have the Bastard Pac. Taking on the Hollywood Hunk. That seems like something you would try and say, Elio. Anyway, the Hollywood Hunk. Ryan Nemeth?
Yep.
Nemeth, yeah.
Baby Dolph.
Dolph Ziggler. Is he the younger or older brother of Dolph Ziggler? I never actually knew that. Okay, I wasn't sure. He looks older. Anyhow, so he pretty much comes out for Pac to kick the living snot out of, because that's what happens here. Pac kicks the living snot out of this guy. You know what? You were suggesting. You know what? I think next week let's throw the fans out there, see what they're thinking about Ryan Nemeth. We're going to do him in as Elite or Delete, and let's try and always clarify, people. Elite and Delete means at this moment. Do you think this guy is a guy that at what you've seen now should be groomed to go higher up the card, or maybe needs to be sent down to Dark to get a little more seasoning and training? Okay?
He is the younger. He is in fact the younger brother.
He is. Okay, I wasn't sure because he looks older. My goodness, he looks a lot older facially. Like I said, this was definitely a squash match. It looked great for Pac. He needed this. Okay, Did not look so good for Ryan Nemeth. This is where Peter Avalon should have been in, or Cesar Bononi, or somebody. I mean, if they've been trying to get this Hollywood Hunk guy up, this was a misstep because it just undressed him badly. I forgot to mention one of the notes I was just looking at. Andy, I know whatever you think of the wrestler, how about in the very first match, Darby Allin taking that ridiculous apron spot?
What? Yes, I know what you're talking about early on. Yeah.
That was not pretty.
What did that add to the match?
Yeah, nothing. This has become the trend, This in the last 6 months is like how many ridiculous, horrible. I mean, this is going to be reduced to somebody getting their butthole ripped, screaming "My hole!" on national. Oh, wait a sec, that did happen. Anyhow, what we're getting.
The hole gets hurt.
Bigger than when it started, brother. Wow, where did that come from? Okay, so good. What did you think of the Pac match, the Bastard match, whatever you want to call it? Bastard Pac.
You know what? You said it was. It was a good match for Pac. Just not that he needs to get over, but it was a squash match, and it actually surprised me because with the little bit of, I don't know, it felt like it was a little bit of a push for Ryan Nemeth last week. And then was he the Hollywood Hunk last week too? I don't think so.
No, this is the first day of that moniker, I'm pretty sure.
So we'll give you a brand new name
and let's kill you.
Squash you. That to me makes no sense. I mean, what do I know? I'm sitting here in a podcast. I'm not sitting in Jacksonville, Florida, helping book stuff. But that made no sense to me, and that's why I was surprised. Getting the Hollywood Hunk. I thought, okay, well, maybe not a 50-50, but I was expecting maybe 70-30. I was expecting him to get in more than he did.
Yeah, he did not get much in at all.
No. Like I as I was watching, I'm like, this is a squash match, and that's what it was. So good for Pac, and Ryan Nemeth, not so much.
What do you think, Elio?
Okay, for me, I didn't really like this match. For Pac, it was good for Pac because he destroyed Ryan Nemeth. But again, I'm not seeing anything here with this guy.
Okay, yeah, and how can you if you're gonna introduce him, give him a name, and then squash him? Also, I want to quickly point out from my notes, one of the most awkward moments of this entire night happened was, I don't know why they didn't talk about this or if he forgot about it, but as Pac is celebrating, out comes Felix, Phoenix tries to put him on his shoulders or something, and it looked like the most awkward, angrily move you've seen. Pac looked extremely pissed. And very unbalanced trying to get up on this thing. Yes. It was, for guys who do all these great off the rope walking, blah blah blah, that was awkwardly bad since it wasn't even
when it's a shoot and you don't know what's coming and you're not prepared to go with it and work with it, that's what happens.
Yeah, pretty bad. So then I thought the John Moxley recap of Go to Sleep was shit, but then came the wedding, and wow, guys, this was
my beer.
However, I have to give small props to the little package of Miro, Penelope, and Kip Sabian.
Yep.
That the three of them recapping it was actually pretty coolly well done and built into the fact that Miro is going to go after Orange Cassidy now. Okay, so that I like, but watching the actual footage from what had happened, oh my God, was that bad. I mean, the only saving grace, the only thing that made this anything human was
me tearing it apart.
Father James Mitchell.
Amen.
And we have to get more of this guy on AEW and Impact.
Why? Just so my blood pressure can go high.
Yes. This is what happens when you betray your global brothers. They wish the worst for you. No, Father James Mitchell sucks. I've never liked that dude. I don't usually get as worked up anywhere as Elio does.
That was one of the best things ever for the WPOV. It was amazing.
It was. I listened. All right, so we go back to. Okay, we're backstage with the Inner Circle and Dasha. Everyone's lining up, except Sammy. Dasha says, "Where is everybody? Some people are missing here." And then MJF comes out, looking like he got beaten with a 2x4. Okay,
awesome.
Awesome. Ribs taped up. He's talking about how Sammy hit him so hard in the chest that he broke his rib. All right, let's see if you watch the episode, Jericho. We're gonna meet.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so then Jericho's like, "What? That can't be. What?" Which has been his character when it comes to Sammy and MJF. He turns into the what? Where? I don't. What? I'm not sure why he does that, but anyways, so they go out, and I gotta say, is Judas losing its effect? Because the fans really did not. I mean, it seemed in the end they were doing it, but it seemed probably the least outgoing of this song that I've seen for an entrance for a while.
I think it's just there, and it's just they have to do it because I think to stop doing it will look bad.
And worse. In your opinion, Andy, when Jericho is out there and he's taking it in, right?
Yeah.
Do you think he's actually taking it in for real, or is he playing the part of the over arrogant heel? Because I don't know. Sometimes I think, okay, he's playing the heel, but then I'm think, Well, is his ego that big that he's really like buying that these people are singing his song and he's soaking it in?
I hope he's playing the part.
Yeah, I hope he is too. But what do you think he's doing?
I think he's playing the part.
Okay. Sorry to throw you on the ropes like that.
No, not at all. That's fine. I just I hope he is, but like for his own sake. But I think he is.
Okay. Now I got to say this, guys. The more I see these dudes, I like the Acclaimed more and more. Of all these new teams that they're bringing out, like Top Flight, who I really do like, move wise. What are the two guys? The party guys?
Private Party.
Who are the guys? The party guys that are private?
Well, I was going to call them the inner party, but I don't think they're the inner party. They're kind of but there is something about the Acclaimed because they have this hooky rap stuff, which is funny. They get in some good stuff. Like they said some funny stuff today on their thing. But then these guys can actually wrestle. You let them go. They're actually a good tag team. And they're two different guys with two styles that have meshed it. And that makes a much more interesting tag team than two guys who are exactly the same. So I have high hopes for these guys. I enjoyed them. You know, I still get a kick out of them using the old ghetto blaster to whack guys in the head. That's some 80s crap right there. Loving it. All in all, this match was interesting. We had MJF just pathetically selling how hurt he was. I actually thought near the end that the Acclaimed were going to take this. I was like, whoa, they're going to let these guys go over. Then Jake Hager, of course, gets involved, and then one little tiny juice effect, and it's over. But I liked it. I really hope that the story of the MJF, and we'll get to the after match in a second here, but the match itself, I hope Jericho sees through this if he actually watches the show to progress the storyline a lot. And like I said, I thought the Acclaimed, but the hard part about this I didn't like was this was an awkward matchup where the Acclaimed are definitely bad guys and MJF and Jericho are definitely bad guys.
It's a heel match.
So it wasn't very clear who you should like in this. That makes the match a little uneven, I think. What did you feel, Andy?
Again, not too much to add from what you said. I thought it was an okay match. I thought the Acclaimed had a good showing. One thing I noticed that's become commonplace, I wrote it down as the Jericho formula. If you watch pretty much, and he's been mostly doing tags over the last little while. Yep. Every tag match starts off the same way where he's in at the beginning and the other team, both guys get like a decent amount of offense on him.
You think that's a good thing is that like a cool thing as him as a veteran giving a sort of rub to guys?
I think that's the attempt, but to me it just seems like they're just doing stuff to him. It's not like the babyface heel where they're outsmarting him or one-upping him. It's just they're just doing stuff. So to me, it doesn't. It like I watch it and it's just, oh yeah, Jericho's letting these guys do stuff. It's not, they're one-upping him, they're outdoing him, they're outsmarting him, they're quicker, they're it's the whatever the typical babyface kind of thing of getting one over on the face when you're getting a shine. It's just like I can see it's like, oh well, yeah, here you do this stuff on me that'll make you look good because you're beating up Chris Jericho. Yeah,
like he's over promoting who he is.
If to anybody listening, if you haven't noticed it, I challenge you, go back and watch, or going forward, just watch. And that's almost every match. That's what happens. Yeah. All that initial shine is on Jericho, but it's not like they're outsmarting the legend. They're not outsmarting one of the greatest of all times. He's just letting them do stuff.
Okay. I agree. I see that.
Like I said, it was a good showing for everybody. I kind of wondered just because of MJF being hurt, if that was going to kind of cost them the match, because then that's something else they could have blamed Sammy on. But no, it wasn't meant to be, and it was decent.
All right, Elio.
So I like this match. The Acclaimed, when we saw these guys the first time, I was like, no. Now it's like, yes. I like their whole character. Yeah. The rapping, the hitting, using the ghetto blast.
That video they did too, that black and white little video where they were making fun of whoever. That
The
really,
Young Bucks. That's when they're making fun of the Young Bucks.
They really, that really got them on a good path.
I'd rather hear the rapping over Judas. I'm kind of done with Judas.
Well, it seemed like when they used to do the Judas thing, the fans were into it.
Yeah.
Right? And you felt like they were into it, even though they were hamming it up. Now it feels like they're kind of like, yeah, you know.
It's almost like a Goldberg chant.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic if you think about it going back. But
yeah.
I don't even sing along to Judas anymore.
Oh, if
To
Elio was...
them just sitting there like, okay.
Yeah. You know, today, after this match, Elio is going to find the MP3 of the Acclaim's little verses. He's going to be playing that on a loop all day.
How do you know I don't already have it?
The Acclaim's greatest hits.
All two of them. It's 3 minutes of them. Anyways. Okay. Then, finally some progression in the Inner Circle story. Sammy Guevara comes out. And everyone's all hostile a bit. They kind of, you notice that they're all circling him. They're all being tough guys. Then when he quits, it's like they're all bending over and trying to kiss his ass to keep him there, which I did like. Nope. Santana and Ortiz went from being very hostile to, what do you mean, man? What do you mean? You know?
It was just weird. It looked like Jericho was in the corner there crying.
Yeah, like Jericho really was taking this really badly. MJF is smirking at the camera.
Yeah, he did a smirk, yeah.
Yeah. And to top it off, did you guys notice that Sammy, when he went to the back, stopped and then walked in the good guys tunnel instead of where the bad guys come out? Yeah. So obviously, I think that to me, that really moved things along. And, I mean, they did a really quick dumb thing in the back with Alex Marvez. Like, what is with Alex Marvez? Why do they keep this guy? He never gets anything out of anybody. Most times they just walk away or tell him to screw off or super kick him or something.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I want to talk to the girl.
Or smash his phone.
So, what did you guys think of the progression of this story of the Inner Circle, Andy?
Finally.
Yeah, thanks.
Finally, something decent, something good. Okay, no, we haven't touched on that yet. I was going to compare it to something else, but we haven't got there. It was a little different because I think especially for us, we were so much focused on Jericho and MJF. I mean, we knew there was the dissension there with Sammy, but to actually have him quit, I think kind of shifts the focus a bit, and I like it. And it's finally something new that, it's just, to me, it's been stale. So, we've kind of been at a standstill with what's been going on. So the fact that Sammy, quote unquote, quit, I'm curious to see where this is going to go.
Excellent.
That's good. Yeah.
Elio, did this segment do it for you?
Yeah, it was good to finally see something happening rather than the same thing every week.
Okay.
So finally some progression in the story.
All right. Well, in the tradition of terrible setups, let's go now to Matt Hardy and Adam Page at a bar drinking.
That's the two of them.
Yeah. Matt convinces Page that he can make him the number one person in the industry, a billionaire.
Yes, that was awesome.
And he pulls out a contract where Page would give him 30%. Ooh. Page thinks he's right, asks for it. Then Matt, in probably would never happen anywhere in the world, leans over and goes, "Hey, cameraman, I have you here so I can document even when he..." Well, here's the thing, Matt. What you're documenting is you've coerced a man by getting him drunk to sign an invalid contract. And logic tells you if you record that and he takes that to court, your contract is gone quicker than you can whatever. But hey, I guess we're supposed to forget the logic parts.
This is in the same vein that Sammy Guevara invites the cameraman in, but then MJF uses the recorder, his phone, to record it because they got to make sure that I can trick you. Although I will say, like, despite the mind numbingness of that,
yeah.
Again, to speak to the Matt Hardy slimy character, the point where it's like, they have their drink, they're about to do the shot, let's toast to that. And then Matt does a thing where he turns around and in full, right in front of the camera, pours the drink out.
Yeah.
And then does the makes it like to me, like that's entertaining, good, slimy heelness.
Now, you brought up the fact that when he went back and he said he had to go get his phone, and then he already had his phone.
Yep.
I am convinced, and maybe I'm giving the AEW writers too much here, but I'm going to convinced here that something's going to be revealed next week where Adam Page didn't really sign that contract, or he signed a fake name or something, and it's going to just lead to problems with him and Hardy.
Yeah.
Well, if you saw like when Matt had his back to Adam Page, Adam took a pen and was writing on the paper, but it wasn't the one that Matt Hardy gave him.
So we're going to see where this goes. But then again, we've seen some pretty bad writing this week from AEW. We may be 100% wrong here. All right, then we get to Tony is going to talk to. I'm sure getting sick of how he calls him Sting, or what, it's just whatever. He's going to talk to the man called Sting. Tony asks him what's on his mind, and before Sting can even say a word, Taz jumps on there. Now, okay, once again, logic here. We're going to get into some logic in a second here, guys. Taz says he's going to take a friend on a road trip, passenger in a body bag. They cut to a knocked out Darby Allin laying there. Then they proceed to drag him. Now, let's talk logic again, okay, by this sort of thing. And so we're supposed to believe that these guys aren't in jail at all for how dangerous this is to tie somebody to the back of a vehicle and drag them. I'm sorry, guys, but there's not even a rich promoter who could stop and say, I'm sorry, my boys are sorry, they're not going to do it again. This is just over-the-top stupid violence that just doesn't work. And I thought it's tough. Nobody in the world would let that happen in real life. I'm sorry. Dumb. Dumb. Tell me if you guys think I'm wrong on this one.
I'm going to throw out, because where you started to go is not where I thought you were going. So I'm not going to say you're wrong. I will take out the idea of anybody else would be going to jail, because there's a lot of stuff where they should be going to jail. Just like we talk about, contracts should be null and void, and the stupidity of I've got you on my cell phone recorded while there's a camera in plain sight. My issue with that was, it was like, as soon as I saw him in the body bag, I'm like, oh, well, that's not a big deal, because Darby Allin likes being in a body bag. He's done this to himself. He's thrown himself off half pipes. He's been in body bags with tacks. So this should just literally be a ride in the park for Darby Allin. I have no, I would say I have no problem. No, I will say I have no problem with him being dragged in the realm of pro wrestling. But when you show me all these vignettes about this is what this guy likes, well, shouldn't he just get dragged around, pop his head out and go, hey guys, that was fun. Can we do it again? That's how that felt to me.
Okay.
It's like,
fair enough.
Brutal. That's, like giving somebody, giving the kid likes candy. Well, hey, you know what? I've got something really bad here you're not going to like. I'm going to give you some more candy.
I guess what we can agree is we may not agree on the end product of, or the way to get there.
Yeah.
But the end thing is this didn't come off as anything realistic or terrible.
Yeah.
This is the way to do it. I mean, if it was more realistic, it would have been freaking terrible. But it was so unrealistic and so just dumb that it just came off as nothing really. Just an excuse when you think about it to make sure that Sting didn't talk again. You got to throw his face on TV and he didn't have to do anything but run away.
Anybody that knocks on WWE for their use of part-timers and this and that, I give you Sting!
The only word we've heard from him is that him and Darby are hoodlums.
Yeah, they're goddamn hoodlums. Okay. Now we get to Alex Marvez actually getting to say a few words. Well, he's bugging for some reason. He thought it would be a good idea to find out where Kenny Omega is, drive out to the golf course that was there, his little cameraman, and ask him, why aren't you in the ring getting ready for tonight? I'm sorry, Andy. Is there any time that when you're not wrestling where you're just like, I better get and practice for this match tonight instead of just living your life. Just another dumb thing. Such a dumb segment.
You know what? Before we started this show, as I watched the show, I made my notes, and maybe it's because we're actually talking and it's out loud. But I had in my head, I had a certain thought about, okay, I'm going to kind of give this show like this kind of rating. The more we talk about this show, the more I'm like, wow, this really wasn't a good show.
Well, definitely the segments weren't good.
Yeah, no.
I've got to say, though, that before you get too turned over, it was refreshing at the end to see a bunch of new talent injected on the show, and that I enjoyed that aspect a lot.
Yeah,
but
it's
just comedy things. Like, I mean, here's the thing: is we may not have realized the pace of it, but they just put 4 segments back to back here. This is the 4th in a row with no matches in between.
Yeah.
And they're not good segments, which makes it even seem worse. You see the turd 4 times, you think you're in a turd house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was just dumb stuff. I don't know if you guys caught it in the back, maybe because I worked at a golf course and I understand a lot more about golf than people understand. But first of all, you had him in a sand bunker, chipping a shot where you can clearly see the guys putting it in the hole in the background as they're arguing about something. And then Kenny Omega, who obviously has never played golf in his life, turned around and says, another eagle. No, an eagle's a hole-in-one, idiot. You would not be doing an eagle from a frickin' sand bunker. That doesn't happen. It's impossible. You've already blown the shot by landing in the bunker.
An eagle's a hole-in-one?
Yeah, it's an eagle's a hole-in-one.
Really?
You cannot do that in 2 shots. It's a 1-shot move. So it's like he's like talking like he doesn't know anything, and they're all going, "Yeah, Kenny, you've been doing it all day long."
I wonder, is that part of the? Maybe that's supposed to be part of the thing. That's supposed to be funny.
Yes, it is. It's supposed to be that he's trying to be so arrogant, and I think maybe I'm wrong, guys, but I think the whole point of the Kenny Omega character is he's a guy who's so arrogant and out of it that he thinks whatever he's doing is right. You know what I mean? Like, he could do the most dumbest thing, and he thinks, no, I'm doing it right. I'm the hero here. And oh my God, we're going to get into his great ass, what do you call it? His entrance. Oh. I said to my wife, let's see how outrageously silly whatever Justin Roberts is going to say today. And it just continues to be outrageously silly. But we're going to get there. Women's tournament match, Layla Hirsch, Thunder Rosa. Wow. I liked it, but there is a few problems that I've seen with this match, and I know Tony would hate this. But I think the problem here is Thunder Rosa is really small, right?
Yeah.
So she usually tends to be fighting girls who are always bigger than her. Layla Hirsch is actually smaller than her. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but she took so many opportunities where she sidestepped in because she wasn't used to having a smaller target to run into things. There were so many times where she pivoted and stopped and did her move because she was unsure if she was actually going to get her move in at the right place.
Yeah, so that one
was just so small.
The one part where she was on the top rope and she just stopped.
Yes, there was a time when twice she ran in from the ropes. The third time she did an awesome knee thing, but twice she ran in. One was a body block that looked like it barely grazed her. She threw her body in, but then it was like she caught herself in the sides and just sort of brushed against Layla. And it was just like, I was like, this seems really off for a Thunder Rosa match. Then I realized it's because Thunder Rosa usually deals with bigger women. So she's probably really struggling to face a girl smaller than her. I thought Hirsch looked really good here, guys. There was a few times where I was like, whoa, is she going to actually beat Thunder Rosa here? Except when she went for that second, it was so obvious the second moonsault was going to be a terrible. She even walked around Thunder Rosa to go up and do it. Just inexperience. But let's give props to Layla Hirsch because she put in some really unique offense tonight. And there were times she legitimately looked like she had her. Although there was one spot in there, Andy, that I did not understand.
Okay.
And that was the part where Thunder Rosa was in a triangle, and she leaned forward, and she had the pin. And she clearly had the pin. The referee hits 2, and instead of taking the third pin, Thunder Rosa lifts her up to slam her. I'm like, she 100% had her wrapped up. You could see that no way in hell Hurst was going to be able to kick out of that. Instead, she broke up her own pin to slam her so the match could go on another 4 minutes.
Well, that was the spot.
it was, but it to me, it was just a spot that doesn't serve Thunder Rosa because she's too small to do that to anyone else. So she's glad she got to move in on a 4'11" girl. But it was still a good match. I thought Thunder Rosa did not look as great as she usually does. She looked good, but she had a lot of miscues. Layla Hirsch struggled near the end, but she did a lot of interesting power stuff. But she did clearly struggle at the end. All in all, though, I liked the match. Andy?
Yeah. I don't have too much here. I thought it was an okay match. Maybe a step down or two from some of the matches we've seen lately.
Mm-hmm.
But still a lot better than what we were used to seeing. I agree. I thought Layla Hirsch had a good showing. Thunder Rosa was all right. And like I said, maybe that's because she's used to working with bigger opponents.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't know. It wasn't anything inspiring for me. It wasn't, like I said, wasn't one of the better ones. It was like,
it was a middle of the road one, eh?
Yeah. But like I said, having said that, compared to, what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where it just seemed like we were, it's like, we were feel bad for the women's division.
Mm-hmm.
It was an all right match. Like if this match had happened a couple of weeks ago, we'd be like, oh, this is a lot better than what we're used to seeing. But lately we've been getting some good content from the women's matches. Mm-hmm. So it was a little more of a step down for me, but that's okay.
What did you think, Elio?
For me, this was a good match. It was better than what we usually see from the women's division. It wasn't the best Thunder Rosa match, but it was, for me, I liked it. It was good.
Now, what do you guys think of the fact that they've announced that the Japanese side of the women's brackets are going to be shown on YouTube?
How many people are going to really tune in?
Yeah. That's going to be for the diehards. Yeah. And in a sense, you know what? I'll almost say like it makes sense because
I was going to say this.
What are you going to do? Like, here we're going to go to a tape match on Dynamite.
Yeah.
From Japan. Like that's logistically that makes sense. Is Dark on YouTube?
Yeah, Dark's on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. What else are you going to do?
Well, what about the fact also that when they showed the Japanese competitors, now I watch a lot of women's wrestling and I only recognize 2 of those women.
And was one of them Aja Kong?
Aja Kong and Emi Sakura were the only 2 that I
remember Yuka Sakazaki was on AEW Dynamite.
Don't even remember. I don't even remember her. That's how little of a pressure. And was Shida on there? Did they show Shida on those graphics?
I don't know if she...
I don't think they did, but I mean, if she's back in Japan, maybe something's going to happen. And
yeah, because she's in the tournament, and she said she was back in Japan, but when they showed those graphics, there was no Shida, so that's confusing as heck.
Dun, dun, dun.
They're really cutting it short with this tournament, too, because it's already almost the middle of February. They're cutting it short with this tournament because Revolution's on the 7th of March.
Oh, wow. Okay. Teo Conte for the win. Anyways, I don't even think she's in the tournament, to be honest.
Yeah, she's in the tournament.
She is? Oh, she's totally going to win. Is Britt Baker in it?
Yeah.
She ain't going to win shit. Okay.
Actually, I made a list of all the participants in the tournament.
Okay. You have it right now?
I do.
Okay. As it's going along, guys, here's the symbol. You think they have a chance? They don't have a chance. You have no fucking clue who they are. Let's see how this goes, okay? All right. You got them? Start reading them, Elio.
Okay. So on the Japanese side, we have Aisha Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, Veni, Emi Sakura.
Emi Sakura. Okay, Andy, She was on Dynamite before you started doing it with us.
Okay.
She come out dressed like Freddie Mercury, complete with a mustache.
Oh,
and the
it was bad.
It was so bad.
We put it in the book.
Little fat Japanese chick with a
we put her in the book.
She was in the book.
We have Rio Mizunami.
Rio? And that was not.
No, it's not Riho. It's Rio. It's a different chick.
This is Mei Sugura, Rin Kadokura, and Maki Ito. That's the Japanese side.
Now, okay. I
don't even know any of these people except the two.
One of those girls, somebody had sent out a screenshot of her tweet she placed on Twitter. And she put, "Hi, motherfuckers. I'm so-and-so. I am the queen of shit and piss, and I'm going to win the tournament." And then they took down,
Google Translation.
Then they took down the shit and piss part of it. But it was still, "Hey, motherfuckers, I'm so-and-so, and I'm going to win the tournament."
Did it have the American side?
Hold on, I'll get right there. But you know the other thing she said, Andy? You're going to love this. "I failed to get into high school. I failed to become an anime artist. I failed to become a model. But I have my dream now to win the AEW Women's Tournament."
So who was this?
I'll find out the name. It was one of the last three girls there.
Oh, okay.
I failed high school. I failed to get into high school. But my dream of becoming an AEW tournament winner. The queen of shit and piss. Motherfuckers.
I guess I'm not the target demographic.
I don't know who is. Who is the target of that? Elio.
12-year-olds? I don't know.
The queen of shit and piss is appealing to 12-year-olds? Okay. All right.
No, I'm saying is that 12-year-olds would like the humor in that's supposed to attract.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so on the American side, we have Serena Deeb.
I don't think she's going to win the tournament.
Rio.
She better not win the tournament.
Britt Baker.
She ain't going to win the tournament.
Ty Conti.
Yay!
Thunder Rosa. Nyla Rose.
I don't know.
Nyla Rose.
Anna Jay.
Ooh, she
and
probably not win.
And Layla Hirsch.
Isn't she already out now?
Yeah, she'd be out next.
Well, no, I had these before. I dreamed that before, but that's all the names that are in it.
Excuse, Elio. That's called an excuse.
That's not an excuse.
It's a cheap excuse.
It's not a cheap excuse. It's expensive.
You're a cheap guy, Elio.
It's expensive.
Expensive. Your mom bought you that computer. Don't you be telling me. All right. Then we go down to, I don't know why I found this incredibly uncomfortable, but Jungle Boy, sitting on a couch without his shirt on and his hair all wild, apparently he really lives the Jungle Boy lifestyle, having an interview with Tony Schiavone, talking about all this stuff and ending it with that he's going to make Dax his bitch. Which was the most unconvincing threat I've seen in a while.
Yes.
What is it? Everyone's go-to word.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the AEW, like, you say bitch and it's big trouble. Ooh, he said call me a bitch, I'm gonna kill him. You know, like, is it just me or does Jungle Boy, like, I like Jungle Boy, but did he not seem the most disinterested and unconvincing angry tough guy?
Mechanical is actually what I wrote down. Mechanical.
Nice.
At first I thought he was being serious, but then as it went on, it was just, he's sitting here like this and he's talking like this, and I thought we had a really good match and people told me how good it was, but then after you did this and you took Marco and you kidnapped him, thankfully he's okay now, but I want to fight you again so I can make you my bitch.
And it honestly looks like I'm behind the camera holding cue cards that you're trying not to glance too hardly at as you're staring at the camera.
Kidnapped, literally speaking.
Yes, but you know what though? The thing with this is, to me, like it's there for him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what and it's funny because earlier in the show I'm talking about giving people the chance to giving them the mic and talking. I would think maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt just based on his pedigree, that he would have better acting acumen than most. So, I mean. Like he spoke clearly and like, that part was fine. it's just like it's
So-
like you said, like reading cue cards or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
and so mechanical. He
Yeah.
did not move his. Oh, so
No, the
uncomfortable.
potentials. I mean, if that's maybe the thing, like where maybe you try to guess or whatever. Maybe that's what they were trying to think. Okay, look, like you have to be serious. You have to be kind of like focused, and it just didn't come across that way.
Well, that's because the Young Bucks were coaching him on acting.
Maybe, unfortunately, but I think they're like for him to be able to do a good promo. Like the potential's there.
Mm-hmm.
It needs work.
It does. The potential is there. What is good. I always jokingly say this. Do you think that when he matures and becomes Jungle Man, it'll all come together?
I hope so for his sake.
For his sake. And ours, because we have to watch this.
Yep.
Okay. If Marco Stunt ends up being the big success out of these three idiots, I am going to be sorely disappointed in this world.
That's not going to happen.
Well,
You'll be disappointed for other reasons.
Yes. There's many reasons in this world to be disappointed. Alrighty. Now we get to the main event. Dan Callis, Andy's favorite, gets to join the commentator booth and be annoying as per usual. Sometimes he makes me laugh. This time he didn't add anything to the commentating, I felt. Wow, is Kenta small? And you think it's a good idea to put him in there with Archer? It was almost comedic just looking at him. So we have Kenny Omega comes out with that obnoxious entrance.
Yeah.
The dancing girls with the brooms, the full bit. And I'm sorry, but I was sick of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Months ago.
It was funny. It was funny in the beginning, but
it's
now
not even funny. Even the stuff he used to say stuff leading into it that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But now it's like they're not even bothering. They just say North Carolina like it's.
No, but that's what I'm saying. When he first debuted this entrance, it was funny. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just nothing about it's funny anymore.
No. Then Lance Archer, John Moxley come in, and I get, we talked ahead of time about this match, and Andy made a very good point that it sunk in as I was thinking about it. This match was it could have been so much better had they either reined it in a little or let it go completely out. But this middle of the road stuff, some was good, some was horrible, some was funny, some was stupidly silly. The biggest atrocious thing, of course, was in the near 3/4 into the match, they decide to show us highlights of what happened in the match while the match is still going on. Which, why?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that WWE shows you when they're in a rest hold, or when, they don't do it when you're still in the middle of a back room brawl and let's go back to what happened a minute ago,
or at least go picture in picture something.
Yeah, or the small this happened sort of deal, and just dumb things. I mean, watching Archer clearly waiting for his cue to come running in with the bag of the box of potatoes.
When they're in the kitchen, yeah.
Fighting on top of those carts. If anyone's ever worked in a kitchen, I've worked in there. Those prep tables, you would never stand on those. They're just too fucking dangerous. But then you notice the referee is holding it while they're doing it. That annoys me as much as watching ladder matches where the referee holds the ladder.
Yeah.
So, okay. In the end of this match, of course, you knew because it was a no DQ match that the Good Brothers would come in. They lay out Archer, and there was a good little spot in there where the baseball bat.
The barbed wire baseball bat.
Before we get to that, Jake Roberts doing a move or two.
Short arm clothesline.
Really surprised me he even got in there. And then looked like he was going to take an actual bump. Was scary enough. But then, of course, Archer coming in with the, or not Archer, sorry, Moxley coming in with the baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire, laying out a few people before he gets laid out, which is always so funny, too. He just tears apart those four guys, and then Kenta takes them out like boom. So it just, okay. In the end, I believe Archer ate the pin, right?
Yep.
And at the end of this, I was kind of laughing. It wasn't explosive enough to be super fun. It was kind of a joke. I felt like I wasted my time a bit here. Andy, how'd you feel about this?
trying to debate now. Like, I was okay with it. I'm not going to say I full out enjoyed it. It was fun. For me, usually, and I think I've said this before in the past, when some of these type of matches go on, it's almost like a break for me because chances are I'm going to enjoy it because I don't take it too seriously. You know, it's fun for kicks and giggles to see some of the creativity as long as it's not getting ridiculous like the whatever the Stadium Stampede match was, and guys aren't getting Northern Lights suplex, 50 yards down the field kind of thing. It was all right. It was fun. There was there's a few little miscues that with the Archer waiting in the kitchen there, that was a little off for me. I had chuckles with the barbed wire baseball bat, when the first shot that you give to both of the gentlemen in question are gut shots and you hit them both in the belt.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's still impact, no pun intended, but it's like really? But there was that, and Archer doesn't look bad in taking the pin because it took the 3 or 4 guys to beat him. And in the end, I'm usually a fan of, the heels kind of ending up on top like this. Depending what maybe they're not doing anything with Lance Archer, but if they're setting something up for Archer and Omega, or we talked before about, hey, as far as like something that would give a bit of a rub to him as a bit of more of a push. I think in this environment, if they could have had Archer pin Omega.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I would have been okay with that, and that to me would have given him some credibility. Again, I don't know if they're going to go into Revolution or anything else. Like, it's just right now that, hey, we need to put in somebody that looks credible to team with Mox. So maybe that's what it is. If that's what it is, fine. But I get why heels went over. I'm okay with that, but it was something in my head like, oh, this would be a really good opportunity to help kind of solidify his status and kind of bump him up as a babyface. Jake, 2 things with Jake. I wonder because, was it last week? I think last week or 2 weeks ago, he was involved in one of the matches too on the outside. I almost wonder if this was, some of the guys being like, hey, Jake, like, please, like, I'm one of your biggest fans growing up. Is there some way, can we just I'd love to, take
interact.
Just something. Yeah. And because even to that, when he was towards the end of the match, when he was kind of interacting with Mox. Yeah. I was thinking like, wow, the last time Moxley and Jake were in the ring together, Jake had a snake slithering all over Mox.
Yeah.
I was like, it's come a long way. But you know what? Like you said, maybe it was flat. Kind of, you didn't really enjoy it too much. I was okay with it.
No, I didn't hate it. I didn't say you
did.
It's just when I got to the end of it, I was kind of like, oh. Yeah. Just something about the ending of it just made me go, wow. This was your typical. It was your typical ending that they do with these throwaway matches that don't mean anything. Yeah. That's how I felt about it. Yeah. And how about the ridiculous sight of Kenny Omega having the Good Brothers hoist Lance Archer on his shoulders so he could give him, because he couldn't lift him to do it.
But I was okay with that because to me that made sense that it takes 3 guys to get him into the finish.
Yeah. And you know what? You brought up a good point because I said to my wife who was watching just the last match with me, I said to her, man, if they could let Archer win this, it isn't going to, it's a non-title. There's no belts up here.
Yeah.
And this would make Archer legitimize him here.
Yeah.
Even if they don't give him a title shot till way later, he's in the mix now. So I was the only thing I find, I like the move. Okay, I like this move a lot, but when you're doing this kind of knockout brawl, blah, 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 I think going to the top ropes, walking it is the stupidest thing in the world when you're in kind of a match where guys are trying to punch you, hit you with things.
Yeah.
To take the time out to do the balancing act and then flip, a little much. Like it, but it just was out of place for me in this one.
The Undertaker would do it.
Okay, I don't even know what to say to that. He wouldn't flip.
No. But still, just the idea of going up to the top. I mean, you can say that with a lot of like the luchadors too, right?
Yeah.
They go up there, it's like, why did they just pull them down?
Yeah, like I love it when guys actually pull them down or kick them off the thing.
Because it seems more legit.
What did you think of this match, Elio? Was this your cup of tea?
Some parts I like, some parts I didn't like. Towards the end, it kind of fell apart for me.
Okay, we you know what? We're kind of being idiots here. Maybe because we talked about it ahead of time, we didn't realize not one of us mentioned the whole potato jokes.
I deliberately omitted it. When you were talking about the kitchen stuff, I was just like, meh. Like, for those that get it, cool. Otherwise, to have to go, look, it's an insider term. It's supposed to be funny.
There's so many things in the kitchen you could hit somebody with more. Maybe because I'm a chef, I was like, that's all you're going to use is the potatoes. But anyways, a few things I'm going to say about this show. I thought it was a good effort. I really appreciated an infusion of a bunch of new faces this week. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to have a show where you have a bunch of extra guys, and hopefully some of these people stick. Some of them obviously won't, but we got to see some guys, even if it's just a taste of what's coming down the road. That I liked. There were a lot of unevenness in some of the matches, which unfortunately made them suffer. There was a hell of a lot of bad vignettes and logic applied in the show that just, what the hell sort of deal, makes you shake your head kind of stuff. One thing I forgot to point out too, and I wrote all these notes and then I let it go. There were so many notes I put about the Darby Allin match. As I'm watching Darby Allin wrestle, and I don't know if you caught this, Andy, and you probably did, he wrestles like a heel. He does shit that good guys don't do. Good guys don't go kick people's face in the rope. He's doing all these little things that if they turn him into that snaky heel, this will be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's hard to generate except for his size. And this is the weird juxtaposition of Darby Allin. Darby Allin's a small guy, and you're supposed to naturally cheer him because big guys are beating him up.
He's an underdog.
However, he's presented himself as this freakazoid who loves to be beaten and loves to take punishment. So it's hard to generate sympathy when the guy doesn't hurt him or it doesn't bother him. Hard to generate sympathy. Yeah. Then combine the fact that half of his arsenal is dirty type moves that the heel should be doing. It makes him super hard to get behind as a fan favorite. So that's something, that's a tweak. I think if they just looked at some of that and adjusted this, they could make him a way better, more effective face or turn him heel. But right now, the way they're presenting him, it's always going to be rough. There's always people who's going to not buy the fact that he's the good guy. And I can see why. I respect the things he does at times, but some of the things, and plus, the first time ever, I agree with Tony. When he was laying there on his back, I was like, his costume is the most ridiculous thing. He looks like a reject from Peter Pan. He's one of the Lost Boys fighting it out. I don't understand why he's dressing like that. But the makeup did some good stuff. So if we had to take a good look at today's thing, and we're going to wrap up a score, I'm going to start off with Andy. Andy, if you're going to score this one on a report card, and you know what, I'm taking this time to go last because I'm not formulated quite yet what I want to say of a score. Do you need a minute, or are you ready, Elio? Do you have a score?
I'm scoring mine.
Are you ready to go?
Go ahead, Elio.
Okay, well, yeah, Elio, what do you got on there?
Because I thought it was an average show. The matches were all bad. The segments were really bad. Atrocious. But I'm going to go with a C-.
C-. Yes. It's lower than I was going to go. Okay, Andy?
Yeah, you know what? I was at the start, I was kind of thinking C because okay, well, maybe this is a little bit better than last week. But then as we got talking, I'm kind of like, that's why I said, I'm not sure. This wasn't maybe this is even worse. So I've kind of I'm in between. You know what? Because this week, at least there wasn't a wedding.
Yeah, but there were highlights, lowlights if you prefer.
Yeah, well, we didn't have to sit through the whole thing, at least.
True. And at least Miro saved it with his promo actually mask some of how bad it was.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Elio as well. I'm going to say a C-.
Okay. I'm going to give it a C. And the only reason I didn't go C- was I did appreciate the fact of seeing some newer people being highlighted. Like I said, probably 3/4 of them we won't see again. But there was some interesting stuff. I also, I don't know if you guys knew this, but about 10 minutes after the show ended, Tony Khan tweeted out that they hired Lee Johnson as a full-time member of AEW. So he's been hired to the main.
What a surprise!
Yeah. Hence the big, the whole, your first win.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there are guys who worked at that company forever like, what the fuck? I won my first night.
Yeah.
And he said jack shit. But
it was 0-56 on Dark. One win and
he's the man. So, and I don't understand the Nightmare family. It started off as just, Dustin and Dusty, and then they brought in QT Marshall. Then they bring in all these guys who I guess maybe they'll have a thing down the line, but that seems like opposite of building stables. Usually building a stable is you have some bad guys and then you have a hot newcomer, not a maybe he'll develop.
Yeah, so is this supposed to be some sort of cool new faction?
Yeah, they're not.
No, but I'm saying, is that what this is supposed to be?
Well, I think that's the point of a faction like this, but they're not. I mean, I would get it if they picked up Hobbs. Then it could have been like, because at least
they had
he was
Hobbs for 10 minutes.
Yeah, for 10 minutes. But I meant if he was like a highlight of their package of like, what the Nightmare family is. But really, Lee Johnson, and who the hell's the other guy? I don't even remember the other guy's name now. He was on a week or two ago.
No, they have Aaron. They added
Aaron whatever
Solo and Nick Komoroto.
Yeah, so they got these guys who we barely even remember. Does that sound like a faction that puts any fear into anybody or any? Okay.
Well, we talked about how the one guy has that Bruce Brody look.
Yeah, that was that Nick Komoroto.
Nick Komoroto, yeah.
And he lost his match, but now he's part of the Nightmare family.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess it takes a good.
Well, you win the match and you get a contract. Signed. You lose the match, you just join the Nightmare family.
And you get to be on Dark.
That's a consolation prize.
Dark.
So you're part of the family, but you're not really part of the family because you don't have a contract.
Yeah. That's not. Yeah, that's like trying to explain those dudes over in WWE who hate the system and they are going to interfere and do what they want, but they got contracts from Raw.
Yeah, that still bugs me about Retribution.
Yes. Okay, so I am not too much of an egotist to admit when I made a mistake. An eagle is actually a 2 under par. Okay. But it's extremely hard to. No one really scores an eagle out of a sand trap. To get up there already took you 2 strokes. So that still doesn't work. But that's his character, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the guy who believes he's everything.
Yeah.
So, folks, you know what? We had a fun time. I think I had more fun talking with you guys about this than watching the actual show.
You know what? I agree.
Oh my goodness. And Andy, always good seeing you. Looking forward to our upcoming new adventure on our next episode of Quarantine.
I hope so. I hope it works out. It'll be a gooder.
And Elio, it's good to see you beaten, whipped, and returned to us. Wherever Clay Cummings is, I hope he's laughing at you heartily. And told you, don't always trust those Americans. Although you're from Toronto, you're an Eastern Canadian. I'm not sure if me and Andy would think of you as a Canadian. But anyway.
It's still the same.
You and your -12 weather.
-12. Okay, I know who American folks have. No, you'll have to go look at the conversion for this, okay? But today they were talking on the radio, and it's been like in the -40s, -50s up here in Red Deer the last couple of days.
Sorry, it's -8. Right now.
Oh, shut up. So he said that the DJ says today, guys, there's going to be a 6-degree high temperature more than last night. However, I challenge any of you to show me the difference between -47 and -53. Because it's actually tonight, Andy, where they tell us we're supposed to be looking here in Red Deer with the wind chill at -51 or something like that.
Hang on, because I just found something here. So
please let it be warmer. Please tell me they updated that, because that was this afternoon.
So -51 Celsius is roughly -59.8 degrees Fahrenheit.
American fans, you're probably shivering like hell right now that you understand the conversion.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're going to get through this deep freeze. You know what, Andy? They say this is going to break for us probably by the end of the weekend. And it'll be back to a balmy -20s.
Yeah, well, Sunday I'm seeing here -15.
Yes.
And by Tuesday, -8. By next Friday, -4. So let's hope so.
So this has been you know what? I went to BC for a couple of days. The temperature I left Monday morning, it was -2 when I left. When I arrived in Red Deer that night, it was with the wind chill, it was -47. So it went down 45 degrees in 8 hours of driving. Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, all we can say, fans, is keep warm watching wrestling. You know what? AEW has had a little bit of a bump right now, but so do all the programs. But we're still wrestling fans. We still enjoy it. We don't hate watching Dynamite. We wish every week the show was a little more coherent. But don't get us wrong. Every episode, there's at least 1 or 2 good matches that you'll probably enjoy, or maybe 1 or 2 things that you'll laugh at. But we're here to tell you, over a 2-hour viewing experience, is it great 2 hours? Is it a sad 2 hours? Is it 2 hours you wish you had back? It'll always be one of those things. So always hope for the high and get scared of the low. And keep watching wrestling, because let's face it, there's nothing more exciting than watching guys wrestling in their underwear.
If I may interject one last thing,
Yes.
If you are not going to enjoy watching the show, at least it provides fodder for us so that you can still listen to us, even if you don't want to watch Dynamite.
Yes, and I'll tell you this, for every super bad show of Dynamite there is, you are going to get a more funnier, ridiculous episode out of us, because our minds have been mushtified for those 2 hours.
Yeah.
The only way to clear out the old attic is for the 3 of us to go into idiot mode and start spewing the ridiculousness, because it's the only thing that'll bring us back to normalcy. So,
and good news, because you know what? I'm glad you brought up the Eagle, because I had my cell phone on record the whole time.
What? Cameraman, get this.
He totally MJF'd us.
I'm going to punch him in the stomach.
You're lucky you came clean. You're lucky you came clean because I had my phone on record.
That has got to be the worst piece of logic to date. This week, they have some dumb stuff, but to have a cameraman, I thought MJF's supposed to be a brilliant guy. Isn't that what's supposed to make him a great heel, is that he's smart?
I don't know.
Maybe this is a dumber version of MLW, MJF.
Maybe this is the Elio Canella version.
Dun, dun, dun.
I want crickets to come out.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know where you get your information.
Well, Andy gave it to me. Anyhow.
What about this misinformation?
Well, folks, thank you for joining us. We had a fun time if we're leaving with some laughter, that's for sure. Everyone, have a good night. And remember, Elio's back because this is where he deserves to be.